Why Scottish schools are key to creating a sustainable future. Here we go again. Well, so many occasions, as I'm sure most are aware at this point, I have made many a reference to Agenda 2030, Sustainable Development Goals that Nicola Thinlips signed us up to in 2015. I've also made many references to the fact that I personally believe, and it's become pretty obvious at this point, that this so-called crisis that's been brought about by a supposed deadly virus out there, and a rather low death rate, but we want to talk about that now, has all been done for the Decade of Action. The Decade of Action, of course, was the 10 years left to achieve said Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. So when I see headlines such as why Scottish schools are the key to creating a sustainable future, it just further ties everything in together. But just another quick memory jog, Nicola Sturgeon in 2015, why Scotland is showing international leadership on tackling poverty and inequality, because everything's about inequality according to this thin-lit bit. In September, the UN General Assembly in New York will provide the backdrop for national governments to agree to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, Nicola Sturgeon herself did just that. In 2015, Thinlips announced Scotland's intentions to sign up to the goals, as well as the Scottish Government's plans for implementation domestically in Scotland through the National Performance Framework. Now, I'm sure you've heard all about that before. It's what the majority of our policies based on. It's all intertwined at this point. But people they still call me a conspiracy theorist. I get the odd comment here and there about this. And the Scottish National Action Plan for Human Rights, of course, the SNAP plan in brackets. In committing to the goals, Thinlips declared that they offered a vision of the world that she believes Scotland shares. And again, it's just hilarious. No, it's just whatever. She didn't ask me. She didn't ask the country. She says down here that tackling poverty and inequality in Scotland is one of the government's central aims for one simple reason. Our success as a nation depends upon working together to deliver a strong economy, which she's just destroyed, while supporting a fairer society. Now, isn't it funny? She's now destroyed the economy, and what is the solution to come out of the destruction of our economy? A fair, well-being economy, a green, sustainable future. This time of rhetoric, as much as we strive to create a fairer Scotland, and how do you get people to come on board with that? Well, over the years, the poverty levels in this country is increasing. What do? They blame Westminster. I've been through this before. The amount of millions that they spend consistently, year on year, to social justice related bullshit in their fucked up attempts to apparently quell the so-called inequality for the marginalisation in this country, but nothing for the native Scots, of course. No. The goal, Thinlips' commitment to the global goals is further ensuring working across Scottish Government directorates to achieve domestic implementation separate to the alignment of our international development work with the global goals. So anyway, that brings me to, of course, things like this. This was a video I just put out before I started this one up. We are seizing this moment, this crisis, this crisis that appeared out of the blue. We're seizing this moment to build a better future for all. And it says here,
our generation has faced. It would be easy to focus on nothing but COVID. And of course, the effort to suppress it will occupy us for some time yet. But we should also
seize this moment to imagine and start to build a better future. It's funny because it reminds me exactly of a similar quote that she made.
Life, the economy and society. And we're going to have to methodically and systematically and carefully work our way through how we fix the impacts where it's done damage and where we change how we do things in the future. So I don't have all of the answers to that right now. And I think Parliament would rightly be a bit miffed if I stood up here and tried to give you all of the answers to that right now. But just as we did at the outset of this crisis to put in place the protection against eviction, as we move into a different phase, we will have to consider what protections are appropriate for a longer term period and what bigger changes we want to see. Actually, everybody in this chamber has a part to play in that, as have the entirety of the Scottish population. I would never, ever have wished the circumstances in which we're having these discussions, but it is undoubtedly the case that it gives us an opportunity to change things for the better.
It brings about an opportunity to change things for the better. Another one here, this was from a few days ago on their website, and it talks about the Programme for Government 2020 to 2021 sets out our plan for a stronger, more resilient and greener economy, of course, with a laser focus on creating new jobs, tackling that child poverty that's been increasing since you've been in your tin pot parliament, and ending our contribution to non-existent man-made climate change. And then it says here, whilst suppressing COVID remains our most immediate priority, we must also accelerate our ambitions to build a better future for all. It's so convenient. Came out of nowhere. Accelerate. Love that word, because the decade of action requiring accelerating the transformation of society in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals or meet those goals by 2030. It's remarkable how it all just miraculously falls into place for these individuals. This crisis just came out of nowhere, so it did. I'll bring you back quickly to this before I move on to the main point of this video. Scotland and the Sustainable Development Goals, a national review to drive action. This was the 30th of July 2020, but this shit's happening as we speak. All this talk just now of new cases and such, the highest daily increase. They need to keep this. They need to prolong this. It wasn't that long ago that Thin Lips on Twitter was talking about the fact that the rise in cases was to do with testing, so there's no need for alarm just now. Less than a week later, I'm really concerned about the cases. We better shut everything down again. Why? Because we need to prolong this. If everything went back to normal right now, they wouldn't be able to start implementing the plans that they have dredged up. This is the point. So that leads me, of course, to this ridiculous article, and if I'm honest, it's insidious, because they are clearly targeting children. All this laser focus on the youth. You think they give a fuck about the youth? Pardon my French. No, they don't. And this has been going on for some time. I've covered this in the past, actually. Commitment to sustainable learning. This was 19th of July 2019, but it's not the only one. There is a plethora of these dotted around the internet. This one here, for example, Vision 2030, concluding report of the Learning for Sustainable National Implementation Group. And you scroll through this absolute dribble. By 2030, ensure all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship. That bollocks about the New World Order? It's not so bollocks anymore. Global citizenship, one world, global citizen, yeah? We need to remove national sovereignty, part of the plan of Agenda 2030, moving on to the next milestone, whatever it will be. An appreciation of culture, diversity, and of culture's contribution to sustainable development. Oh, it's such pretty words. And of course, Nicola Thin Lips herself is in here somewhere, if I could find it. The UN Sustainable Development Goals offer a vision of the world that I believe people in Scotland share. Delighted to confirm that Rainbow Unicorn Land has become one of the first nations on earth to publicly sign up to these goals and provide international leadership in reducing inequality across the globe. We need to grasp this opportunity that following this path offers to create a fairer Scotland and a better world, both now and for the generations to come. Yeah, it's so sweet, Learning for sustainability, learning for a better world, identity and heritage, social justice, sustainable development, education, global citizenship. It's madness. It's fucking madness. And then if we keep scrolling down, of course, because there's one thing I wanted to show before moving on. Here we go. Vision for Scotland in 2030. Scotland is the best nation in the world for children to grow and to develop. Every learner receives their entitlement to learning for sustainability. Every practitioner demonstrates learning for sustainability in their practice, and every school and setting has a coherent whole school and community approach to learning for sustainability. All learners have daily contact with nature through thoughtfully developed green spaces and school grounds. Our learners are committed to the principles of global citizenship, social justice and equity, democratic participation and living within the ecological limits of our planet. This is children that we're talking about here. Equity, social justice, global citizenship. This type of just disgusting rhetoric that has come directly from the United Nations. So anyway, moving on. Finally, the challenge of creating a sustainable future has never been higher up the news agenda, and the achievements of the goddess Greta Thunberg in highlighting the global non-existent man-made climate emergency show that what can be achieved by determined young people. These determined young people that have had it drummed into their head that climate change is a life-threatening issue, that if we don't take imminent action means that their futures are done. It's rather convenient to drum this bullshit into their heads via your learning for sustainability programs. Fill these children's heads up with the concept of green policy and whatnot. Then when they go out to demand change with their little placards that the teachers probably help and encourage them to create at home and whatnot, then the politicians get to take action. And at the end of it all, it's classified as a fucking achievement by brain dead assholes. It's determined young people. Now they're terrified. They think they're making a change in the world because of children's rights and whatnot. They have to have their voices listened to when it comes to policy making. What's the best way to do that? To encourage them to go out and protest for a non-existent climate emergency. Oh, wow. Fucking hell, I can rant, eh? Swedish teenager Thunberg spearheaded the school strike for climate change. Yes, but it's not a new phenomenon for school pupils to be a catalyst for change. The role of schools in sustainability has been a vital part of global citizen education for many years. Such education is in keeping with the Sustainable Development Goal number 4.7 that aims to ensure all learners acquire the knowledge and skills for sustainability by 2030. I mean, read between the lines. Sorry. They want children to know all there is to know about the Sustainable Development Goals because they're the generations of the future. By the time this is all implemented, they'll have generations primed and ready to roll with it. This is what's happening in Rainbow Unicorn Land. There are 5 development education centres within the International Development Education Association of Scotland that deliver training and support for teachers. You mean reprogramming for teachers. Turning them into campaigners and activists over teaching, fucking numeracy, you don't need any of that. You need to know about gender equality and systemic racism and equity and socialism and communism and whatnot, fascism bad, yeah, we've all heard it. And of course it says here that the Scottish Organisation for Bridge 47, an EU-funded project, of course, promoting global citizenship education. Wow, the One World Centre. I mean, One World. It's so in your face. In Dundee is a DEC that has been working with teachers across Dundee, Angus, Fife, Perth and Kinross since 1984. Sally Romilly, Global Learning Advisor at the centre, said, "We work to raise awareness of the UN Sustainability Goals. In Scotland, the goals are aligned to policy through the National Performance Framework." Told ya. The Scottish Government sees the goals as part of what's happening in society, and that's a big plus. Of course. Karen Poor of Bell Baxter High School praised the centre for inspiring her to try new approaches in the classroom. The support from the One World Centre set me off on my global citizenship journey and gave me confidence to try out new methodologies in school, which worked really well. The key is nurturing young people to take forward their own ideas and actions. That's just such lies, though, because the whole education system, the curriculum and whatnot, has been redesigned. This curriculum for excellence, they are telling children what to think. There's no critical thought anymore at all. They're being taught what to think. It's being politicised. They're being taught about climate change, this one-sided lefty version for irrespective of what topic it is. And then they've got the audacity to come out the other side and say, oh, but we're letting the children take forward their own ideas and actions predicated on problems that they've been told are there. Sorry. The promotion of fair trade is one aspect of sustainability, and the One World Centre works with the Scottish Fair Trade Forum, a national membership network for fair trade in Scotland. In terms of what can be achieved by schools, the forum's engagement and communication officer, Colleen Tate, gives the example of Fairlogy or whatever community calf in the calf ran by pupils of Carlogie Primary School has become a local hub for the fair trade products and information. I mean, something that's fine, but that's not what this is all about, is it? As we'll come to see. And then it goes on to say, the pupils are exploring global issues on a local level. I mean, we hear this so many times, global issues, but on a local level. It's just working on their literacy and numeracy skills in a real-life setting, whilst also developing social enterprise acumen. We need to continue fostering this combination of knowledge and skills if we are to have a serious shot at combating the climate emergency, inequality, poverty and other injustices in Scotland. What do you mean other injustices in Scotland? It's climate emergency. Oh fucking Jesus. We're talking about children here. So if it's not anti-racist shit they're being taught, if it's not LGBT compulsory education, they're being taught about climate emergencies in the textbooks. I mean, where's the other side of the argument? That's what critical thought should be about, is it not? If you want these children to bring forward their own ideas and whatnot, then they should get both sides of the argument. They don't see the other side. They don't know about Michael Mann's hockey stick graph essentially being debunked. They don't know about the fact that the UN has been wrong in every prediction going. They don't know about the medieval warm period. No, they don't. They just see some fabricated little graph which they've deliberately pinpointed and it shows the heat going up at a certain point. Anyhow, Learning about sustainability and global citizenship encourages pupils to reflect on social, economic and environmental issues that the United Nations especially wants them to focus on, and the impact of their own actions from a global and local perspective. This means that global citizenship is not a subject specific, but instead should span the entire curriculum and ethos of the school. Tate said many teachers do this fantastically already through the likes of their Fair Trade School Awards, which encourages everyone in the school to think of the impact of their actions on people and planet. The DEC's charities such as the Scottish Fair Trade Forum support schools in doing that. And I've got no issue with them like learning about fair trade and whatnot to help poor countries and stuff, but if you're going to try and shove this into some form of teaching them about the climate emergency and all the other ills that Whitey is responsible for, and I have a fucking problem with that. Both in the World Centre and Scottish Fair Trade Forum have benefited from sub-granting from Bridge 47. The One World Centre has recently worked on a project called Welcome to Our World, using music as a context for exploring global citizenship issues. Welcome to our world. I mean, oh, Jesus. Romilly explains the funding allowed us to work with a music specialist who combines her passion for inclusion, celebrating diversity and valuing human rights with her musical expertise, and the young people are really engaging with it. I mean, oh my god. Such projects provide just a snapshot of what is happening in Rainbow Unicorn Land in this area. Romilly explains that DECs run whole programs of professional learning opportunities, from year-long courses to shorter training opportunities exploring topics such as children's rights. There's that shit again. Children's rights. So much wrong with this concept of children's rights. I mean, I don't say this in a derogatory term, but if you read through some of these rights, they are just ridiculous. I have the right to be taken seriously and have my views taken into consideration when it comes to policy making. This is what they're being taught. They're being empowered, but for all the wrong reasons. They're being made to feel that their voices matter more, in a sense, like they're being turned into activists. That's what this is. They're being taught all these problems that have been put in front of them, and they're being empowered to scream out about it and scream for change. That's what this boils down to. Courses introduce teachers to methodologies for discussing issues which are often seen as controversial, such as migration or Brexit. I mean, what the It's about understanding global citizenship education as an ongoing approach to learning. And it's not about telling young people what to think. That's exactly what you're doing, no. It's exactly what you're doing. Rather showing them how to think. I mean, that's not the same thing. Come on. Showing them how to think about something instead of what to think about. I mean, it's the same thing. If anything, it's worse. Don't look over here for answers. Look here, you know? In today's world of short-term thinking and fake news, this is an important skill to have. Tate says that schools can play a key role in raising awareness of the Sustainable Development Goals. We're living in a globalized world, and this pandemic conveniently has highlighted that. Young people really understand this and can help to spread the message of the goals. Scotland's Sustainable Development Goals Network recently welcomed the publication of Scotland and the Sustainable Development Goals, a national review to drive action by the Rainbow Unicorn government, which is all coming into fruition, as I said, on the back of this fake fucking crisis. And that's what it is, it's fake. This lockdown is the crisis, essentially, and that's why they're going to keep telling you this cases. That's why we're going to keep doing this year on year, and they're going to continue to destroy the economy, and they're going to pump all this money into the green sector and whatnot. They're going to phase out oil and gas, take away the fossil fuels. Every industry that supposedly pumps out carbon, gotta go, oh no, because it's all about green now, or it's all about a green, fairer, sustainable economy. What does fair mean in the context of the socialist/commie worldview? Oh, well, I think you fucking know what it means. Anyway, it tracked the country's progress in achieving the goals and the challenges that remain. The report said that rather than simply meeting our obligations, we have the ambitions in Rainbow Unicorn Land to turn the SDGs into a positive advantage socially, environmentally and economically. Much has been achieved to set in place the right conditions for moving forward on this vision being the operative word there by the UN, of course. For example, through action to support and invest in innovation, of course, to turn things green and new thinking. Yep. For more information, please visit the shitty website. And of course, the article was funded by the European Union and other cancerous organisation. And on that note, peace out.